चलो स्टार्ट हो गए.
Hi everybody, welcome to Crick Tracker's special show In the Air with me, Nivedna Prabhu. I hope all of you are excited and waiting to see what's going to happen in 30-20I between India and South Africa. Of course, आप सबके पास predictions होंगे. अगर है, put that in the comment section. And of course, I have both my guests already joining me on the show. We have Pratik Tiwari as well as Chirag Manocha, looking quite fresh for this next game. And let's wait and watch कि उनके क्या predictions है. But before we dive into that, a little recap of what has happened so far in the series. If you have missed out, partnerships have been amazing for South Africa, which is why they went on to win the first two games. Bowling wasn't that great for Team India, which is where probably they'll have to step up this time around. And of course, coming into the 30-20I, because it will be played in Visakhapatnam. What can we expect here? The pitch, the combination as well. A lot of analysis has also gone into what we can expect. So without wasting any more time, let me come to Pratyay, you first. Hello to you, Chirag, as well. But Pratyay, over to you first. What are we looking at in terms of mistakes not to be repeated for Team India at least?
Yeah, I think the series is clearly on the line. They have to win all the three games. So it's quite obvious that they are looking to win this game because this one's gone and the series is gone. Two ways to look at it. I think that even if India goes on to lose this match, I still think that the next couple of games will actually ease out for them a little bit because then they will be able to give chances. But then, having said that, you never want to lose a game. You're not playing cricket to lose any games. Of course, it's kind of obvious that they would still want to bounce back. They will still back themselves to win the series. You always talk about home conditions. These are still your familiar conditions. These are still grounds where you have played a lot more cricket than the visitors, and that is exactly why you would back yourself to, win this series and try.
Pratyay, if you could unmute yourself. I think you've muted yourself. If you could unmute yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about the changes. I think what mistakes they do not have to repeat. Clearly, I think in the previous game, I mean, we have seen two different kind of games. The first one where Indian batters kind of managed to put up a good score, but then the bowlers not being able to step up to the mark in defending that. In the previous games, the runs were not enough, and despite the start that Bhuvneshwar Kumar gave in the power play, those 2-3 wickets, it was towards the middle overs where India lost the match. So I think what is very important here for Rishabh Pant is to use his resources well, because that is exactly what a captain's job is to do, to use his resources well. I still think that in the previous game, maybe where India lost the game, apart from, of course, that what Glassand did with the bat, that was one of the reasons. But the hidden part that we often do not
Okay, so I think there is a technical glitch.
So I think that if these two
his
things,
end. Okay, we have him back. Okay, Pratyay, I would probably ask you to, double check if, there is something with your net. I'll come back to you. Chirag, I'll come to you. You are, of course, the optimistic fan that we always have. You also did predict with the fact that India jeetega, in the second T20 as well, लेकिन वैसा हुआ नहीं. लेकिन यहाँ पे threat क्या हो सकता है टीम इंडिया के लिए? Do you think it's just those amazing partnerships जो first और second T20 है, दोनों में देखने को मिला?
वेल देखो, थर्ड मैच है और डू और डाई मैच है इंडिया के लिए. किसी भी हाल में जीतना होगा. गर्मी बहुत बढ़ चुकी है और मुझे भी बहुत लग रही है. ऑफ कोर्स होनी भी चाहिए, क्योंकि ये जो मैच है तो क्योंकि अभी देखो ना, अगर ये अभी ठीक है, हम कह रहे हैं कि T20 वर्ल्ड कप को लेकर तैयारी है कि हम एक्सपेरिमेंट कर सकते हैं, पर सीरीज हारना इंडिया में वो कहीं ना कहीं हज़म नहीं होती बात कि इंडिया अपने घर में सीरीज हार जाए. ठीक है, 2 मैचेस में आपने देख लिया, पर आप अपना ई गेम आगे करो और अच्छा खेलो, परफॉर्म करो. आई थिंक बॉलिंग में आज कुछ चेंजेस देखने को मिल सकते हैं, क्योंकि चहल और अक्षर पटेल का परफॉर्मेंस वैसा नहीं रहा जैसा हम सभी उनसे एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं. तो शायद बॉलिंग में चेंजेस हो सकते हैं. बैटिंग में देखें तो ऋतुराज गायकवाड़ का फॉर्म वैसा नहीं रहा, पर आई थिंक टीम मैनेजमेंट उन्हें बैक करेगा आज के मैच में.
Okay, that's two interesting points. तो मैं सबको वही पूछूंगी कि आप सबको क्या लगता है? ऋतुराज गायकवाड़, of course, in terms of IPL 2021, he was fabulous, but 22 was a little rocky. But with the fact that Chirag thinks वो कुछ backing मिल सकता है management से, do you agree with that? Number 2, bowling changes होने चाहिए या नहीं? Everybody is waiting for the speed gun, that is Umran Malik, कि उनका chance कब आएगा? Do you all think he could be tested in this particular match, or do you think we're still going to wait for him? Tell me that as well in the comment section. To everybody who's joined us, hello to you. I also see a very interesting prediction from Naeem saying 5-0 is coming. Now, all you Team India fans, आप अपने जवाब दीजिए to this particular prediction in the comments. Talking further about this particular exciting series, let's find out कि head-to-head क्या है इन दोनों teams के बीच when they have fought in the T20I format. If you could take a look at that on our screens, and then I'll come over to Pratyay as well. I think we have spoken about the fact that a slight upper hand, of course, being India over here, 9, South Africa 8 out of the 17 matches. But we all know that stats and numbers are one part of it, but at the end of the day, it boils down to what kind of performance and combination you're going with. Having said that, let's take a quick look at the probable 11 of both the teams. And Pratyay, I'll come to you on this one. The fact that, of course, they have clashed with South Africa on numerous occasions, but this stat just keeps changing. 2 matches previously, India was leading up until, 3 matches. But slowly, they're inching closer to leveling this. If you could take a look at the probable 11 of both the teams, and I'll ask you to summarize that for us, Pratyay.
Well, see, in this format, it's very fickle. I mean, if you're talking about the shortest format, things can change around in a jiffy. And, as you said that, I mean, you saw that India at the start of the series was having a convincing lead, but suddenly the numbers have started to look a lot better for South Africa. Or another game, and then they will be apart with them, I think, at the level by, a little bit of whim, and it changes around quickly. So I think because if you look in the last couple of games, there are not too many positives for India. And I think because of that, they would not want to remember those games. But every single opportunity, every single game that you're going to play is again starting from zero, is again starting you and giving you a chance right from the start. So it's about capitalizing those chances that you have. And as for speaking of changes, I personally would not change anything in the South African lineup unless, of course, you have Quinton de Kock available, which I don't think he is. So I don't think that there is a need for them to change, because why to change which is not does not need a change, because a couple of games they have been pretty clinical. Even in the previous game, despite not having him in the ranks, Quinton de Kock, they were clinical enough to win the game by quite a big margin. So I don't think that they would be trying to change any combination. But for India, yes, of course, now that, as I said, that there's no point making players sit on the bench, because this is the best chance for you to test the players. And by making them sit on the bench, you're of course not testing them. So I would be personally interested to see maybe Umran Malik get a chance, or if not him, at least Arshdeep Singh in this game. I think because it's Vizag, the boundaries are not.
Sorry for cutting you short. The fact that you spoke about Umran, I'll quickly take this question on our screen because you just mentioned about him. So we have a question coming in from Ameya talking about, should Umran be tried for Avesh? His raw pace will help us. If you would go ahead and answer that and continue your point.
I think so, yes. I mean, if you have to look at the kind of changes that you make, because you have to have a little bit of experience, so you're definitely not going to sit out Bhuvneshwar Kumar in that sense. Harshal Patel, I will still say the couple of games that he has had and the kind of skill sets that he has, because he has a lot of variations, can bowl at the death. So I think that the probable solution you will have, or the probable one that you will want to slot Umran at the expense of, could be Avesh Khan. The other point being that because it's Vizag, it's not one of the largest stadiums. So of course the pace will have to be. It has to be important that you understand that when you are bringing a pacer, it could also backfire, because with the pace, what we have seen often is that because of his own pace, many a times probably a ball that would not even go for a 4 might end up going for a 6. Top edges getting carried for 6, or because batters kind of use that pace to their own advantage. Maybe because of that, in this game, I would rather prefer Arshdeep over Umran. But I still think that on these kind of tracks, on these kind of whatever we have seen in the couple of games so far, on these kind of tracks, you could well see what kind of a skill set Umran can bring. And I think that he is being seen as someone in the scheme of things as far as your World Cup is concerned. So I think that if he can get 2-3 games on the bounce, that will actually be very good for us to kind of understand that whether he is right now a finished product or not.
Right. And I think that would eventually also talk about the fact that this is going to be played in Australia, right? So the conditions are also going to be different. So it's probably a good time to test out whatever options that we have. And I think, like Pratyay has said, that this is one of those series jo aap apni T20 World Cup ki combinations ko try bhi kar rahe ho. There was no Deepak Hood at one point in the scheme of things. But of course, he performed exceptionally well. So a lot of names, a lot of choices. but ultimately it boils down to the best combination that Team India wants. Talking about another question that Ameya also had was about whether Venki Iyer should be at the top instead of Gaikwad. He also adds a new bowling option. Well, I'll answer that for you, because Pratik did talk about the fact that you wouldn't want to really, change anything, at least up until the fourth position. That was the takeaway in our last show. And he said, yes, of course, Ruturaj has not been in great form, but that's probably not something that anybody will look to experiment. Although we do know about Venki Iyer, but we also have Hardik, who has made an exceptional comeback of sorts. So Venkatesh Iyer was that option जब हार्दिक नहीं थे. But continuing to talk, I like the fact that all of you are giving us your questions and analysis, and keep it coming. I also have another question, so I'll take that and I'll come to you, Chirag, on this. Ronald Davis has asked us, how about playing Ravi Bishnoi in place of Aksar? Do you want to take that?
कह सकते हैं कि रवि बिश्नोई टैलेंट है, अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस किया उन्होंने, पर आई थिंक अभी जल्दी होगा अक्षर पटेल की जगह रवि बिश्नोई को लाना. अभी तीसरा मैच है, जो दो मैचेस का एक्सपीरियंस हो चुका है ऑलरेडी अक्षर पटेल को. 2 मैचेस में एक्सपेंसिव रहे, पर बॉलर्स का दिन खराब रहता है. स्पिनर नहीं, मुझे लगता है कि थर्ड मैच में अक्षर पटेल की जगह रवि बिश्नोई को होना चाहिए. अगर पेसर्स की बात करें तो मुझे लगता है आवेश खान की जगह भी अभी किसी और को नहीं लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि आवेश खान अच्छा कर रहे हैं, अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं, और थर्ड मैच है, डू और डाई मैच है, तो इस मैच में एक्सपेरिमेंट करना आई डोंट थिंक सो कि ठीक रहेगा. एक मैच का वेट करें और तब जिसको मौका देना उसके बाद वो दे सकते हैं.
All right, fair enough point. I hope, Ronald Davis, that has answered your question. Now we will go to the fact that we have these approaching milestones that are going to be happening in this match. We of course did discuss a very interesting aspect of this, where I want to see Rishabh Pant from appearing in 100 international matches. We also have Ishan Kishan and Dinesh Karthik as well. Chirag is an expert in this, who can tell us कि उनके हिसाब से most doable कौन सा है, Chirag?
फर्स्ट वाला तो हो गया, सेकंड वाला भी डुएबल है. तीन फोर्स चाहिए, आराम से हो जाएगा. ईशान किशन ओपनिंग और अच्छे टच में हो जाएगा. दिनेश कार्तिक रिक्वायर्स 6 फोर्स टू कंप्लीट. ये है 70-30. 70% हो सकता है, 30% नहीं हो सकता. तो दिनेश कार्तिक वाला ये थोड़ा भी 50-50 सा है, 70-30.
And what about when it comes to South Africa? I'll ask Pratik, what is the most doable here?
Well, I think Quentin de Kock, he is out, so I don't think that he is coming back in. Van der Dussen 5-6s can happen definitely, because this is, as I said, it's not the largest of ground, it's a small one. और यहाँ पे आपको उम्मीद होगी कि 5-6 छक्के जैसा फॉर्म उन्होंने अभी तक के सीरीज में दिखाया, हालांकि पिछला मैच उनका उतना अच्छा नहीं था, बट ही इज अगेन वन ऑफ दोज प्लेयर्स जो कि एट विल बाउंड्रीज मार सकते हैं और इजीली कहीं भी किसी भी ग्राउंड पे वो क्लियर कर सकते हैं. तो मुझे लगता है शायद कि ये भी हो सकता है आसानी से. Tabraish Shamsi 1 game away. Yes, if he plays, then I think this will be done as soon as he steps onto the ground. So I think that yes, the first and the last one are easily doable. And if we have de Kock, then even that one.
All right. Talking about the approaching milestones in दोनों की टीमों में से, our cricket guests have given their comments. आप सबको क्या लगता है? I definitely want to know that. So share that with me. Talking about this match, ultimately it's the toss. यहाँ फिर से South Africa have won the toss and they've opted to bowl first. So let's talk about the fact that this has once again gone in their favor. Pratik, would you like to answer that, or Chirag? Who would like to take this question?
I mean, ठीक है, जो अभी से प्रताप से बोलो. मैं तो वही कह रहा था कि जो अच्छा चल रहा है तो अच्छा चलने दो. जैसा साउथ अफ्रीका ने सेकंड में किया, वो थर्ड में किया, तो अगर वो उनके लिए काम कर गया तो ये थर्ड वाला भी कर जाएगा. तो शायद उनके दिमाग में यही होगा, और चेस करना आई थिंक सही रहेगा साउथ अफ्रीका के लिए.
Okay, now he has given his verdict, but quickly let's talk about the playing 11 for Team India. Ruturaj Gaikwad, Ishan Kishan, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik, Akshar Patel, Harshal Patel, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Yuzvendra Chahal, Avesh Khan. So basically, it's an unchanged combination. Pratik, I'll come to you. Probably no surprises. They would not want to experiment because एक तो जीत जाए, right? So you can at least make it 1-2 if not anything. What is your takeaway from this?
Couple of ways to look at it. I am little surprised, I would say, because yes, I was expecting at least one change. I would have wanted to see Arshdeep in place of some or the other person, preferably maybe Avesh Khan. Not that he has done too much wrong, but like I said, this is an opportunity. 3 games in a row when you have lost 2. From the management's perspective, the only thing that you could think is, क्योंकि सीरीज अभी भी आप हारे नहीं है, एक मौका आपके पास में अभी भी है. अगर आप इस मैच को जीतते हैं, आप सीरीज को जिंदा अभी भी रखेंगे, 2 मैचेस आपके पास में उसके बाद में भी, और आप कोशिश कर सकते हैं कि आप सीरीज को जीतें। बट मेरा अपना पर्सनल तौर पे ये मानना है कि ये सीरीज, क्योंकि आप इतने सारे यंगस्टर्स के साथ खेल रहे हैं, तो हर एक मैच आपके लिए एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है किसी एक खिलाड़ी को मौका देने का। और इस वजह से शायद अगर आप प्लेयर्स को ट्राई करने पे ज्यादा फोकस करेंगे इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे, मे बी थिंग्स कुड हैव बीन डिफरेंट। अगर आप 2-0 से लीड कर रहे होते सीरीज को, तो ये शायद थोड़ा सा ज्यादा लॉजिक और ज्यादा क्रिएट करता दैट यू वुड वांट टू सील द सीरीज एट द अर्लीस्ट पॉसिबल पॉइंट। तो आप तीसरा ही मैच जीत लेते हैं, 3-0 के आप लीड ले लेते हैं, और फिर आखिरी के 2 मैचेस में आप पूरा एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन कर सकते हैं। On the other way around, when you are lagging behind 0-2, then again the same philosophy can rule you that क्योंकि एक गेम बचा हुआ है, अगर आप ये वाला गेम जीतते हैं तो you have the chance to save the series, शायद उस वजह से सेम कॉम्बिनेशन रख सकते हैं। But usually what we see teams doing is that they retain the winning combination. So South Africa not making a change makes absolute sense until unless they have any injuries. But I think that India should have at least tried to give a couple of players another chance. But I'm 100% sure that in the next 2 games हमें जरूर चेंजेस देखने को मिलेंगे, क्योंकि देयर इज नो चांस दैट नाउ इंडिया वुड नॉट वांट टू टिंकर regardless,
Right.
irrespective of what happens today.
Right, and after that, they're also playing at home conditions. Like a lot of cricket experts believe, what better place to kind of put them out to test apart from home series, right? I mean, of course, the Pratyay has spoken about the playing 11 for Team India. South Africa be winning combination. They have gone for the same combination, Chirag. So it looks like the threat again would be a great partnership if it comes. आपको क्या लगता है?
या मतलब जो उनका कॉम्बिनेशन जो उनके लिए काम करा सेकंड T20I में, वही थर्ड में है, तो ये लॉजिक भी नहीं बनता था कि वो चेंज करें। लास्ट मैच है, इसको जीत कर वो सीरीज अपने नाम करना चाहेंगे, तो आई थिंक सही डिसीजन साउथ अफ्रीका का। मुझे लगता है टिम्बा बवूमा का परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छा रहने वाला है, क्योंकि 2 मैचेस में हमें देखा है कि वो स्टार्ट अच्छा कर रहे हैं, पर आज के मैच में वो लंबी इनिंग्स खेलने वाले हैं।
ओके, अगर हमारे चिराग ने बोल दिया है कि कैप्टन साहब are going to step up, then of course at the end of the day we might watch that, but we'll also take a quick look at the player battles before we take a look at what is happening on social tracker, because there's one particular point I would want to discuss with all of you on the show. So player battle mein Dinesh Karthik versus Kagiso Rabada, interesting battle because Karthik has only scored 18 runs and Rabada has dismissed him on 3 occasions. What is the other player battle, if we could take a look? Do we have another player battle to take a look? Okay, that's probably the only one that we'd be taking a look at, and that's an interesting battle. We never know if it's going to go this way or that way.
दिनेश कार्तिक भी वहीं पे डेथ ओवर्स में आते हैं और कगिसो रबाडा डेथ ओवर स्पेशलिस्ट है, तो ये जो बैटल सच में ये देखने लायक होगा,
काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होगा, right? And the fact that we're talking about this particular match after the second T20I, there was a statement that Zahir Khan had made. If you could take a look at that, and I'll come to you, Pratyay, before we wrap up for today. It wasn't the fact that he spoke about the partnership building between Klassen and Bavuma. You could feel that the drive in the India team was going down. It was evident on the field. Those are the things Rahul Dravid and co need to address and do it quickly before the 30-20I, which is today. They need to regroup, have some tough conversations, and identify what it's going to take for them to fight for 40 overs. Right now, that is the interesting point in terms of what is it going to take, to fight for 40 overs. Also, considering the fact that he said you have to regroup and take some tough, chances. But it looks like they're going with the same combination. So what do you think the strategy is? Because Shreyas Iyer also spoke about the fact that their approach is aggressive cricket. Is it also because Rishabh Pant is leading? Is that the mindset? Is that how you take a look at it?
देखिए निवेदा, 2-3 चीजें हो सकती हैं यहाँ पे। आई एग्री विद जहीर्स पॉइंट ऑफ कोर्स, बिकॉज गेम जब आप खेलते हैं 40 ओवर का, 20 ओवर आपके पास है, 20 ओवर ऑपोजिशन के पास में है, I think it's not just about winning any particular phase of the game. You also have to ensure that आप हर टाइम पे अपने ओपोनेंट से थोड़ा आगे रहें, and that is what, यार शायद अगर आप कभी थोड़ा पीछे भी होते हैं, so you have to make that lead enough कि eventually you are being able to end up on the winning side. In the last couple of games, see, when you keep on winning the games, of course वो एक आपके कॉन्फिडेंस के लिए एडवांटेज होता है, क्योंकि जब आप गेम्स जीतते हैं तो आपको शायद जो बहुत सारे सवाल अभी हम उठा रहे हैं पंत की कैप्टनसी पे, या अगर वही मूव्स उनके शायद फायर कर जाते, जैसे पिछले गेम में उस तरीके के बॉलिंग चेंजेस जो मिडिल ओवर्स में शायद सही नहीं हुए, या आवेश खान ने पावर प्ले के दौरान ठीक बॉलिंग करी थी लेकिन उसके बाद में उनको ओवर ना दे करके हार्दिक पांड्या के पास में जाना, अगर उसी समय पे शायद हार्दिक पांड्या ने उन्हें विकेट दिला दिया होता तो हो सकता था कि चीजें बदल जाती। तो मैच का टर्नआउट कैसे होता है, इसके बेसिस पे भी बहुत सारी चीजें बाहर बैठे हम लोग जो एनालिसिस करते हैं उनके लिए बदल जाती हैं, लेकिन ये इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप अपनी बॉडी लैंग्वेज को डाउन ना होने दें, बिकॉज सी पंत इज अ वेरी यंग कैप्टन, and often what we have seen with him is that हारने के बाद में उनकी हताशा देखिए सबको होती है, हर कप्तान को होती है। अगर आप लीड कर रहे हैं अपनी टीम को तो आप ऑफ कोर्स चाहेंगे कि आप जीतें, लेकिन हर गेम आप जीत नहीं सकते और हर गेम आप हारेंगे भी नहीं। सो व्हाट आई थिंक इज दैट ऑफ कोर्स बॉडी लैंग्वेज हैज टू बी इंपॉर्टेंट बिकॉज दैट प्लेज अ ह्यूज रोल। सेकेंडली आई थिंक कि चेंजेस जहां तक की जो बात है, मुझे लगता है कि एज आई सेड कि एक ही जो थॉट प्रोसेस मुझे लगता है इस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पे मैनेजमेंट की हो सकती है, दैट इज दैट दे डू नॉट वांट टू गिव अवे द सीरीज। क्योंकि इस गेम में अगर आप बदलाव करते हैं और जो भी है, हालांकि इस कॉम्बिनेशन ने आपको अभी तक एक भी गेम में जीत नहीं दिलाई है, बट देयर हैव बीन फेजेस जहां पे इंडिया ने अच्छा किया है। सो अगर आप पिछले गेम को उठा के देख लें तो पावर प्ले के आसपास तक ऐसा नहीं था कि इंडिया गेम में नहीं था। या अगर आप पहले T20I को याद करें तो जिस समय पे डेविड मिलर बैटिंग करने आए थे या जिस समय पे कैच छूटा था वैंडर डेसन का, उस समय तक भी भारत गेम में था। उसके बाद जो हुआ वहां से वो मैच को खींच करके ले गया। तो व्हाट आई थिंक इज कि लैक ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन एंड लैक ऑफ कैपिटलाइजेशन आर टू थिंग्स दैट हैव हर्ट इंडिया द मोस्ट। क्योंकि बॉलिंग चेंजेस उनको एग्जीक्यूट नहीं कर पाना, या आप शायद डालने जा रहे हैं यॉर्कर लेकिन आप उसको फुल टॉस फेंक दे रहे हैं, आप डालना चाहते हैं गुड लेंथ लेकिन आप शायद शॉर्ट बॉल कर दे रहे हैं। उस तरीके की गलतियों को नहीं दोहराना वो एक बहुत ज्यादा की एलिमेंट होगा। एंड आई थिंक with the kind of experienced players we have and Rahul Dravid at the helm, I think these are only learning experiences, and 2 या 3 matches में I don't think that this experience will go waste for any of the players. So yes, we are losing the games, but if we are ending up learning out of them, it's not a problem.
Okay, that's
Right.
one way to put it across. We're obviously Team India fans like Chirag, Pratyay as well, but Pratyay sees it from a more realistic point of view, keeping a lot of other factors in mind. Because both the predictions that he made for the first T20I was that although he wants Team India to win, he did say that South Africa would win, and that's what happened exactly. But before we wrap up, Hem Sagar has said ki change zaruri hai. But of course, Pratyay has gone on to answer why that did not happen. And before we wrap up, I'll take another question, or rather analysis, where Ronald Davis has said that captaincy matters. Bavuma is a really good and experienced captain compared to Pant. Well, at a T20I stage, it's very unfair to, it is basically like a newcomer being compared to someone who has 10 years of experience in any field, right? A newcomer will also be given an opportunity at some point to prove their mettle. So till we patiently watch what Pant has to offer in the international circuit, we will have to give him certain chances, because at the end of the day, anybody leading a team will not want a disastrous result. So as much as you want him to go out there and win, Rishabh Pant himself will also want Team India to win this one. And on that very note, I want to thank both Chirag and Pratyay for joining me on the show, and all of you as well with your amazing questions. But don't forget, we will see you in the post-match analysis of the 30 T20I to discuss the result. So see you soon once again on Cricket Chat.